Hey guys, I've had several people ask me about coloring again. I think it's one of the most common questions I get, really. Um, so I figured I would put together this really basic video. Like, it's not going to be anything fancy. I was trying to be a fancy YouTuber, but I'm just not, so this video might not look super great, but anyway, hopefully it will help some of you accomplish whatever it is that I do that you enjoy, and thank you for all the support recently. So yeah, anyway, let's begin. Lately I've been using this brush called Strokes Brush 2. You just go to the Clip Studio Asset Store. I've put all the information up here. Hopefully you can find it through this method. And once you've downloaded it, you'll want a drawing. This is my drawing. So let's begin. Where's my pen? There it is. Okay. So I start a new layer and get my base color, and you can use the selection tool if you want and your lines are closed enough, but I tend not to because I don't value my time very well. So I'm just gonna fill this in manually real quick. Not as quick as I would with the selection tool, but yeah, I like doing it this way because depending on the brush I'm using, especially, it leaves a bit of texture underneath and lets the background show through, which I enjoy. So if I were to manually use the selection tool, it would just all fill in and there would be nothing. This brush isn't as good at that as the brush I usually use, but it's just a habit now, I guess, from using the other brush. So anyway, we got our base color. Now I'll go in with a slightly darker color than this, and I tend to focus on like the forehead area, like around the hairline, and really I just go based on what satisfies my eye, not what's like right or anything like that. It's all just a feeling over here. So I focus on the ends of the hair, around here where the scrunchie is, because that would like pull the hair down and there would be less light hitting it. Then I make my brush really big, and it's important with this brush to have a very gentle touch, so the more gentle you are, the more it blends. And it's important also to work on the color that you're darkening or adding interest to, because if you can open another layer, but it just blends a little less. Like, you can probably see it here. It's like it's blending, but it's not picking up the pigment of underneath, and here it is on the same layer, so you can see it's like more subtle, which is kind of important to me. So I'll add a darker color around the nose area, especially the cheeks, and I'm just starting out really light at first. The neck area, shoulders, maybe some on the chest here, definitely the eyelid area. Just go with your heart sometimes. I don't know. That's what I do. Okay. So now it just feels like it has a little more depth to it, at least in my eyes. So now I'm gonna get a pinker color and go in and add, I know dogs wouldn't blush, but this one does. So I'm adding a bit of pink to the cheeks, and if you press a little harder you can get a darker color, which I like to do just beneath the eye, and then you can press a little more gently to kind of blend it in. Definitely around the nose area, some in the neck and the shoulders, forehead, very lightly. You know, you can just play with it. You don't have to follow this exactly. Yeah, and then we can move on to adding, so I'll open another layer for different parts that I'm going to color in separately. So here's the white of the eye. We're going to need a darker color for the nose. Maybe that's too dark. And this is all on a different layer. We also need color for the collar. I'm going to go with pink. I don't really worry about when I bleed through the lines. I'll go clean that up later. I don't know, maybe I'm an animal, but anyway. The shirt. And maybe I'll give her some eyeshadow. I like to do that. Yeah, that's pretty. And then you do the same thing. You'll get a darker color to add some depth to these new areas you're working on. This part of the eyelid gets the most light, so I tend to leave it lighter. Then we need to do the same with the nose. This part's going to get less light. So I'm kind of following the rules a little bit, but I'm also breaking them, so, or ignoring them entirely. Yeah, I guess I'll clean up this little pink here. Okay. And I have a few other bleeds that I've noticed. And right in here. Okay. We have now our darker base, and we can go in some areas and add a little light. Like, I like to add a little shine on the nose. Shine to the eyelid. I'm pressing very gently, but it was still too much. And the more you like go over it, the less texture you'll have left behind, so you may want to strategically place marks in such a way that you don't lose that texture. We need some shine on the hair, which I'm doing on a separate layer, and then I like to erase away and just until I get a shape I like. It's all very sporadic, I don't know. Okay, and we'll give her, above all that, I'll create another layer, like even above the line art and everything, and add the jewels to her collar. And maybe like a little interest to the eye, a shine or something. So we got a lot of this like yellow and pink color going on. This is the part where I'll kind of want to add a little more chaos by adding more colors. I'll go back down to the part where the layer where I was coloring in the eyeshadow and stuff, and add just a bit of color here and there, just wherever I feel like it looks good. Yeah, like that. It's just kind of, there's a lot of yellow up top, so I'm going to add a bit here so it kind of continues down. I like to take my background color, whatever it is, and kind of add it into the drawing somewhere. Usually I'm using more vibrant color than this, so that can really make the drawing pop more, but I'm using more subtle background color right now. Yeah, pink, kind of yellow, beige, maybe some blue. Yeah, it just kind of gives your eye something to look at. It just makes it prettier to me. So yeah, we've added more color. Now is the time when I would go to my line art layer and lock transparent pixels and start coloring in my lines so it's not so harsh. I like to color in the bottom eyelid a kind of color that matches whatever the blush was. Color in the eyelid to pull it back some. I'll also, like, instead of erasing away the lines, I'll just get the color it's over and just paint it away. See? Gone. You can be neater than me if you want. I admit that I'm a little all over the place. So I'm gonna keep coloring in my lines. I might change her eyebrow color. Yeah. This is when I make different decisions and kind of test out what I'm doing as I go along. I mean, you never know till you try, and you can always hit undo, at least with digital art. Here we go. That might be too light. Almost done coloring in the hairlines. And then we'll go color in the pink. And maybe paint away part of the mouth a little. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it. Alright. And then we can kind of play around, and sometimes I'll add different things to the eyes. Sometimes not. It kind of just depends what I'm going for. And then lately I've been enjoying making the brush really big and getting darker in different colors to kind of add to the background different rough color ins, kind of like what I do with everything else. just kind of gotta mess around with this part because there's all sorts of different ways you could do it that would look equally as good, really. We'll add a bit of yellow and some pink. Sure. And then when I'm all satisfied with what I've got, I like to merge it all. Well, first you gotta put everything in a folder so you have all your original work. And I also like to merge everything but the background so the character is separate. And then I do a little bit of painting over very gently, like, because you can get some blending. I like to kind of, not always, but if it looks good, I'll blend the edges of the eyebrows and the edge of the eyes. It looks kind of painterly to me. You just kind of gotta mess around with it, see what you like, what speaks to your eyes. Be careful not to like over render, I think is kind of important with this process because it loses life to me, and I do this all the time. I'm constantly over rendering and having to backtrack. So I think I've gotten better with it over time, but just erase away anything you don't like. And there you go. You've got a very, I don't know, frantically put together drawing. So I hope this helps somebody. I'm gonna try to do more videos here in the future. I don't know what they'll be. Just thank you for sticking with me. Alright, so that's all.